Today we are going to do the last chapter, okay, of industrial sector or industries. So factories come up. Clear? The first cotton mill in India, they came up in 1854. After that, four of the jute mills came up in Bengal. One was in 1855, then 1862, 1860s, and 1874. Clear? Now, next one is the early entrepreneurs. Now, the history of many business group, they goes back to trade with China. Clear? So, as you have read in your book, that British in India began to exporting opium to China, and they took tea from China. Clear? So, what happened? Many Indians, they become a junior players in the field of industries. So they started providing finance, procuring supplies, and shipping consignment. So having earned a lot from the trade, what happened? They started to have a vision of the businessman. Clear? And they started to develop an industrial enterprises in India. So in Bengal, Dwarkanath Tagore, he made his fortune in China trade. Okay, he started up his own 6 joint stock companies also. In Mumbai, Parsis like Dinshaw Petit and Jamshedji Nusratwanji Tata, who also built a huge industrial empires in India. Then Seth Hukumchand, he also set up the first Indian jute mill in Calcutta, and after that G.D. Birla, he also started up their own business. Now what you can see, this commercial group, they operated within India, and they carried good from one place to another. The banking money was there, transferring funds between cities and financing traders. So when opportunities of investment industries opened up, many of them, they set up factories. Clear? Now, as we all know that the colonial control was there in Indian trade also, which has already tightened up. So there was no space within the Indian merchants, which was very limited for them. So they have been stopped from trading with the European manufactured goods. Clear? So till the First World War, what happened? European managing agencies, they have control of large sectors of the Indian industries. And three of the biggest ones were the Bird Hegler's and Company, Andrew Yule, and Jardine Skinner and Company. Now these agencies, what they start? They started mobilizing the capital. They set up their own joint stock companies and manage them. Clear? Now, next one is, where did the workers come from? Okay. Now, as the factories needed workers, with the expansion of factories, the demand for the workers also started to be increased. So, peasants and artisans, though they were in the village, they don't have any work to do. So, what happened? They went to the industrial centers in search of job. So, over 50% workers in the Mumbai cotton industry came from the neighboring district of Ratnagiri. Okay. Now most of the mill workers, they moved from village to cities, then from cities to village. Okay, and they returned to their hometown during the harvest and festivals. Clear? So what happened? As the news of the employment started to spread, workers started traveling great distance in hope of work in the mills. Clear? Now, getting jobs is always very difficult. Even when mills multiplied and the demand for the workers increased, numbers of the work were always more than the jobs available. So, what happened? Entry into the mills was restricted. Industrialists usually employed a jobber. Okay, they are the person who's been recruited by the company to help in finding the job for the unemployed people. Now, these jobbers, they were very old and trusted worker. They got people from village, ensured them jobs, helped them settle in the city, and provide them money in times of crisis. Clear? And they began demanding money and gift for his favor and controlling the lives of the workers. Clear? Next one, the peculiarities of the industrial growth. Now, as the European managing agencies started to dominate industrial production in India, they were not interested in certain kinds of products. So they established their own tea and coffee plantation. They acquiring land at a very cheap rate from the colonial government, and they invested in mining, indigo, as well as jute. Now, when Indian businessmen, they began setting up industries in the late 19th century, what happened? They avoided competing with the Manchester good in the Indian market. Since yarn was not a very famous part of British imports into India, so what happened? Early cotton mills in India, they started producing coarse cotton yarn. They are the thread. Okay. Now, when the yarn was imported, it was only a very super quality they have been imported. Clear? Now, by the first decade of 20th century, what happened? Certain changes has been shown in the pattern of industrialization. So at that time, there was a Swadeshi movement was going on. So many of the nationalist people, they started boycotting foreign goods. Okay. So industrial groups organized themselves to protect their collective interests, pressurizing the government to increase tariff reductions and grant other concessions. Now, till the First World War, what happened? Industrial growth was slow. War created a dramatically new situation. Within British mills busy with war productions to meet the needs of the army, Manchester imports into India declined. Suddenly, what happened? Indian mills had a vast home to supply. Okay, it was very good news for the Indian industrialist. Now, Indian factories were called upon to supply war needs, jute bags, cloth for army uniforms, tents and leather boots, horse and mule saddles, and a host of other items were also been made. New factories were also been set up, and old ones ran multiple shifts. Many new workers were also employed, and everyone were made to work longer hours. Okay, so over the war year, it happened. Years industrial production boom. Now after the war, Manchester could never recapture its position in Indian market. Clear? Unable to modernize and compete with the US, Germany and Japan, economy of the Britain crumbled after the war, cotton production collapsed. Clear? As well as the local industry gradually consolidated their position, substituting foreign manufacturers and capturing the home market. Okay, children, this much for today. Thank you.